seriously is Washington taking these threats?
Well, listen, if they were really concerned, they might have thought about this before the trade war, and they might have thought this before going after Huawei. Listen, there's no way that if it is really truly the administration's intent to really go after Huawei or kill that company, then clearly there's going to be a counter. And this is a very powerful one. Listen, you cannot run an advanced economy without these rare earth elements. So they're incredibly crucial. That doesn't mean if there's some sort of boycott or an embargo that our economy is going to collapse tomorrow, but it would be a disruption.
Yeah.
And if the goal here is not to disrupt the economy, especially right before an election from Trump's point of view, then you really want to avoid this.
Professor Trachtman, I've read that if you go back and look at the 2010 example with Japan when China hiked rare earths 10 times, there was still a black market the Chinese themselves used to get those materials in the hands of the Japanese. And frankly, not a lot of people even remember that, which was supposed to have been a major issue at the time. So how serious of a threat is this really?
Well, it adds a great deal of costs if China blocks access to rare earths for foreigners. And as you know, China lost that case and a subsequent case at the World Trade Organization. So we've got some precedents for restricting China from doing this. But if China is serious about blocking these rare earths, as James has said, it's going to be a serious problem for United States high-tech production, including in the defense industry. And so this is really a tit for tat. If you're going to damage Huawei through restricting exports of chips and software and other things that Huawei needs, we can do something to you.
Jimmy P., don't we only have ourselves to blame? It was almost a decade ago that this last flared up vis-a-vis Japan. Australia, the U.S., that's a long time to have worked on bringing these things to market.
Yeah, listen, the Department of Energy back in 2010 put out a report, again, calling these critical elements, and they thought it would take at least 15 years to develop an independence from China, across the entire value chain. Obviously, that hasn't happened, which, again, really makes you wonder whether all this talk of a quote-unquote tech Cold War is really ultimately anything other than a negotiating tactic. I don't think we are ready for a tech Cold War involving rare earth. They're splitting the two tech ecosystems from China and the United States. But certainly it's of concern right now. And if it should go through, that would be disruptive.
Yeah, but I do wonder, Professor Trachtman, if the incentive, especially if the Chinese economy is lagging and they're about to lose their biggest market for these rare earth producers, if they do find a way to get that stuff into the black market and ultimately into the hands that need it.
Well, I think it's also true that the United States doesn't want to produce rare earths here because they're environmentally and from a health standpoint for people working in them quite dirty. So it will take a long time for us to ramp up in rare earths if that's what we're going to do, and I think it's a serious threat. Yet it's true, as you say, there could be smuggling and there could be ways that we get it, but it's going to be more costly and less reliable for U.S. producers, causing reluctance to invest in the United States in these industries.